So in this last segment for part 1, controlling your emotions, it's story time. And I've got a story here regarding controlling and managing emotions. The following story should provide a clear example as to how one should control and manage their emotions. Check it out. I made the 8th grade basketball team, only to quit so I could tell the head coach to stop yelling at the kids. Okay, that's the title of this story. I made the 8th grade basketball team, only to quit so I could tell the head coach to stop yelling at the kids. Now, it all began many moons ago. I was in the 7th grade, playing junior high basketball, when I was looking forward to playing 8th grade basketball the following year. Well, one thing I observed all season long was how the 8th grade basketball coach was extraordinarily and unnecessarily vocal and verbally abusive to the 8th grade basketball players. It was horrid, as I could hear him yelling and screaming at the kids every practice all season long in the adjacent gym to us. I wondered why he was so unhinged, and his emotions were so out of control like that. Well, 8th grade came. I tried out for the basketball team and hoped the head coach kind of, cooled down some, and hoped he maybe learned to control his irrational emotions while coaching. To my disappointment, on the first day of tryouts, he was just as emotional and irrational and nasty with his tongue, tone, and temper, screaming with uncontrollable outbursts of rage over just the slightest little thing a kid did on the court. I didn't know if I could or wanted to put up with that type of coaching treatment for a whole season. I had to decide almost right then and there, that week, what to do. Well, I was an upcoming, excellent athlete, and I was not going to put up with that kind of coaching abuse. The question I now faced was, how can someone tell him to stop it? Stop yelling like he was and cool your engine, sir. I couldn't just quit, though. I mean, I might dodge his verbal abuse personally by quitting, but I didn't want the kids left behind me to suffer either. Someone had to tell the coach to stop yelling and screaming at the kids like he was. But who? The principal had gone home for the day. Parents looked at coaches like babysitters. He's not going to listen to any kid, or they'd be told to leave the team. So I thought about it all during tryouts that week. And I said to myself, someone's got to give him something valuable and then take it away. Then, in that moment, give him the lesson he needs to hear. And that's exactly what I did. So I went all week long, managing and controlling my own emotions from reacting to his sporadic lashings out. I mean, you should have heard this guy.
That's it. All right, everybody on the line. I just can't take, no. All right, come on, let's go. All right, let's go.
And I'm like, sheesh. I made it through 3 cuts, and I made the 8th grade basketball team Friday afternoon. Once everyone had left the gym, knowing who made the team and who didn't, it was just me and the coach left behind. I knew if you ever wanted to scold someone, you do it privately and not publicly for the most impact, and so the other person can best absorb the lesson without distraction or embarrassment. Hence, I waited to be alone with the coach. The coach then said,
Bart, congratulations. I'm so glad you made the team. You're going to be one of our star players.
I then replied, that's great, coach. I'm glad you're so happy. Because I quit. And I left the gym, and I headed towards the locker room alone. The coach followed me. He stopped me at my locker to ask why I quit. I mean, I made the team, I was going to be a starting player. I said to him in the most calm and quiet tone of voice to make my own vocal impact. I don't like how you scream and yell at the kids like you do. It's uncalled for, It's unnecessary at that level, and I want you to stop. The problem is, who was going to tell you? No one can. So I just thought I'd give you something you want and take it away, and then in that moment tell you that how you talk to the kids with your uncontrolled anger and rage is just unacceptable. So I made the team. I gave you something valuable, and then I took it away, like I am now, in order for me to get this message to you privately, like we are right here, right now, in this locker room. Please, don't yell so much, and like you do, and for everyone's sake. Being that he and I were the only two people in the locker room, the quiet essence of the locker room allowed him to hear me out completely, with almost a deafening silence and impact. And he did. Keep in mind, I'm 12 years old at the time, in 8th grade, talking to a 40-year-old adult, like you just heard. No, I didn't consult my parents about this. No, I didn't get input from other coaches or teachers. I didn't even ask the kids what they thought, as I could just see it in their frightened eyes whenever he yelled at us. It was just me thinking and doing what's best for everyone involved on the team. My decision to go about how I did what I did could and did have positive ramifications felt across the kid players and adult coaches alike. Pretty cool, I thought. Because, see, 20 years later, I ran into a coach who knew that same coach and told me he did in fact change his ways for the better. This other coach told me, Bart, the coach you said that to has never forgotten that message to this day. He said, and we discussed it among us coaches, the way you handled yourself at that age, how you delivered your message privately, like you did, just had so much class, care, and concern, not just for you, but for the other kids as well. I think we all learned something that day, thanks to you. It may have even made him a better coach. Thanks, Bart, for thinking the way you did at that time. Translation: I was controlling and managing my emotions amidst someone who was not, only for me to get the message to him, and it went over very well. Isn't that interesting? That someone like myself, a kid at that time, who controlled his emotions all week long just to make the team so I could spend less than 5 minutes delivering an important message to an adult about the importance of controlling one's emotions, especially in front of children who didn't deserve that kind of treatment. Crazy, huh? What do you think about that story? What lessons did you pick up? What circumstances or situations can you maybe relate to that says, Bart, I was in a similar situation as this. I didn't handle it as good as you did, but you gave me ideas on how I could handle it or could have, or when it comes around again, I'm going to do it the way you did, Side note, instead of playing basketball, winter season sport, my 8th grade year, I just chose to wrestle instead, Learned a lot about the sport, wrestling, that is, for sure. And an athlete's got to keep busy staying in shape for the most, important sports that he likes to do. And for me, it was football and track. So running back, hurdles, relays, sprints, that kind of thing. So anyhow, to this day, I watch for coaches and parents and others who can't control their emotions and see if they do or don't yell at those they're with, working with, or coaching. If they yell at them unnecessarily, well, you know what I have to say to them. And I step right up, I take them aside, we take a little walk, and I say, hey, Coach so-and-so, it's not necessary for you to yell at the kids like that. It makes you look like an ass. No, I don't mean to say it like that, but as an adult, I probably could, adult to adult. You look like a jerk. And you look like someone who can't control his emotions properly. Anyhow, that's story time. I hope you got, a couple things out of it. I know for me, and who sees this stuff coming when you're a kid or an adult? Who sees opportunities like this coming to where you're on the spot and you got to perform. You got to act out right. You got to do the right thing. And I'm thinking to myself, really, I was plotting on the court. Oh my gosh, I do not want to spend a whole season with him yelling at us like that. I don't need to be yelled at. I need to be told what to do and cheered on. And so I did what I did. And to date, as best I can, we're all human, at least, a few days a week. I try to implement that same strategy. Remain calm, draw attention, maybe give somebody something they want and take it away just to get their attention. And then say in a real calm voice, hey, the way you're doing that, it ain't going to fly. I do not approve of that. So, and then dish out the consequences, the sentencing. Anyhow, again, I hope you got a lot out of that. Let's continue to the next section in this audio program. This time, part 2, managing your emotions. Come on, let's check it out. You're doing great.